The waves did not crash as they should. They whispered. They sang. They bent around her as though the ocean itself bowed to her sorrow. When she first appeared on the shoreline, the moon above was pale and sickle-thin, but the sea burned with blossoms, spectral petals drifting across the water, each one glowing faintly violet, as if torn from the memory of a tree that had never grown in this world. The villagers swore she was not walking but floating, her staff cutting small ripples in the tide though her feet never touched. They whispered that she was the spirit of a drowned goddess, others said a herald of the dead. None dared call her by name, for her name was not of their tongue, a name sung by currents, echoing in whale song and forgotten prayers. Nami. Her eyes did not blink. They glowed faintly like pearls held against starlight. Her voice was not carried by her lips, but by the tide itself, like whispers against the bones of ships long rotted. She promised salvation, but not the kind mortals dreamed of. She promised passage. Passage into the blossom sea where the living and the dead met like two rivers colliding, and where no soul ever drowned because drowning itself was rewritten. At first, the villagers resisted. They tied their doors with salt, lined their windows with prayer stones, and prayed for the dawn. But dawn came and the blossoms did not fade. They spread. They drifted into wells, fountains, barrels. The water turned sweet but heavy, and those who drank from it began to dream of the ocean even while waking. In their dreams they saw her, walking across endless fields of violet petals, her staff lighting the way toward an unseen shore. Children began to vanish first. Always at dusk. The tide would rise without storm or wind, and the blossoms would gather at the edge of the village like an invitation. Those who followed the trail never returned. Some nights, the adults swore they heard laughter beneath the waves, echoing like bells. Other nights it was weeping. Yet there were always those who chose to follow. The old, the sick, the weary. They walked into the sea as though sleepwalking, their eyes lit with violet fire. Some claimed they saw them join her procession beneath the waves, hundreds of souls moving like lanterns into the abyss, their faces calm, unafraid. The sailors brought back tales as well. Out beyond the reefs they said the ocean bent wrong. The horizon flickered as if stitched from dream stuff, and voices rose from beneath their ships, speaking in tones they could not understand but which shook their bones like music. Once, a fleet passed through waters where blossoms covered everything, so thick they clogged the oars. The sailors swore that beneath the petals they glimpsed an entire city glowing, a ghostly palace lit by lamps of pearl with Nami at its gates. She was not alone. An entire host waited with her, their eyes glowing with the same violet flame, their mouths moving in prayer. The villagers no longer resisted. How could they? Salt could not hold back blossoms, nor prayer stones anchor souls that wished to follow her. Slowly, one by one, the houses emptied. Doors swung open. Windows rattled in the tide. The streets filled with petals until they looked like rivers of violet drifting toward the sea. Still, some resisted. A warrior, armed with fire and steel, swore he would strike her down before the blossoms consumed the land. He walked into the tide alone, his blade alight. The villagers watched as he vanished beneath the surface, and for a heartbeat the blossoms scattered as though afraid. But the tide closed again and his fire was extinguished. When the water stilled, he too walked among her procession, his eyes violet, his blade trailing forgotten behind him. Now they say the shoreline itself has changed. No longer sand, no longer stone, but petals, endless petals. They do not rot. They do not sink. They stretch into the horizon, and somewhere far, far beyond, a gate waits. A gate only she can open. The sea is not the sea anymore. It is a bridge. And she is not a herald. She is the tide itself. Even now, when the wind shifts, one can hear her song carried across the world. It is not a song of mourning nor of joy, but of something vast and unfinished. A hymn that is less sound than inevitability. For she does not offer choice. She does not offer hope. She offers passage. And one day all rivers lead to her.